stop scrolling. Breathe into this moment because this message is for the one who walks as a living paradox. You confuse the world. You've become the glitch in their neat little system of labels. They've been watching you, analyzing your patterns, trying to shove you into a box. They desperately need to know, are you a saint or a sinner? Are you here to save them or to expose them? But every time they think they've got you figured out, you shift. You become something else entirely, and that radical uncertainty is driving them to the brink. It's not your fault you're unreadable. It's a sign of your divine evolution, the divine contradiction. Their minds are wired for polarity, holy or unholy, light or dark, gentle or harsh. But you, my friend, you are both and you are neither. You are the perfect, infuriating divine contradiction walking in human form. One moment you radiate a mercy so pure it could quiet a screaming room, and the next you execute a boundary with a cold, almost surgical precision that feels absolutely final. This duality breaks their logic. They want to control the narrative of who you are, but you refuse to fit their stories. You are the equation that cannot be solved, the living proof that light and shadow were never meant to be enemies, but allies. This confusion is exactly why you were sent. When the universe builds something undefinable, it's because it was never meant to be understood. It was meant to be felt. You are the bridge between extremes, the fearless soul who can embody profound compassion while wielding the sharpest discernment. If this truth resonates deep in your gut, if your spirit is screaming, "Yes, that's me," then welcome home. Your journey is not about choosing a side. It's about claiming the totality of who you are. The architecture of the soul. Look at your life. They stare at you and see a contradiction. A storm wearing the face of stillness, softness that cuts, fire that miraculously heals. They can't grasp it because they've been conditioned to believe that goodness must be naive and strength must be cruel. But you've quietly rewritten that spiritual law. You can comfort a trembling heart with one hand and ruthlessly dismantle a deceitful illusion with the other. This isn't unpredictability. It is precision. Every choice you make, every silence you hold, every distance you enforce, it's all intentional. Your mercy is intelligent. Your withdrawal has purpose. You no longer waste precious energy defending your purity or apologizing for your necessary darkness. You've learned the hard-won wisdom that unchecked kindness is an act of self-betrayal, and uncontrolled power is a path to self-destruction. You walk the razor's edge of perfect balance, knowing precisely when to reach out and when to retreat into your fortress. What truly terrifies them isn't your shifting nature, but your absolute control. They watch in bewilderment as you forgive someone, but never grant them access again. They can't fathom how you can love deeply without becoming a target for emotional predation. They see madness where you have achieved mastery. You turned your deepest pain into power, your heartbreak into an unshakable psychic discernment. You became fluent in the language of energy, reading the truth of an intention before a single word is spoken. Betrayal, the fire that forged you. You were not born with this level of insight. This version of you was forged in the hottest fires of experience. Life stripped away your illusions, not to punish you, but to prepare you. You learned the terrifying lesson that not every smile is genuine, and not every expression of love is sacred. You gave too much, your time, your energy, your forgiveness, and the world devoured it, taking your light as if it were entitled to it. But betrayal held a strange mercy. It violently ripped away the veil of your naivete. It forced you to see people not as you wished they were, but exactly as they are. And in that blinding clarity, something ancient and powerful awakened within your soul. It wasn't bitterness. It was an invincible awareness. You stopped chasing explanations and begging for closure, realizing that when people betray you, they are simply signing the final chapter of their role in your story. They called it coldness when you withdrew, didn't they? They whispered that you had changed, that your heart had turned to stone. But what they mislabeled as coldness, the divine calls preservation. What they see as distance, the universe recognizes as profound discernment. You realized that your spirit could not keep bleeding for souls who had no intention of stopping the cutting. Sometimes saving yourself is the most sacred and spiritual act of all, and that's when your unstoppable evolution truly began. The mirror of truth, your empathy didn't die. It became fiercely selective. Your love didn't shrink. It became razor-sharp and precise. You no longer seek external validation or suffer in martyrdom to feel needed. You walk away with sacred self-respect, becoming the unshakable guardian of your own peace. Your quiet serenity now speaks with a louder authority than any argument or act of revenge ever could. The old version of you tried to explain your goodness. The new version lets your silence do the talking. Every scar you carry now is glowing with the intelligence of experience. The wounds that once crippled you have been alchemized into powerful symbols of initiation. Betrayal didn't break you. It baptized you. It burned away all your dependencies and revealed the magnificent, unconquerable soul that was hidden underneath the layers of pleasing and performing. Your transformation was never a punishment. It was a necessary calibration for your destiny. Heaven needed to toughen your tenderness, to sharpen your empathy until it could pierce through the thickest of lies. Every heartbreak recalibrated your internal compass. You stopped asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and started proclaiming, "This happened for me." That was the moment you crossed the invisible threshold, allowing your pain to stop defining you and start serving you. You move through life with an energy that unsettles the false, the unplayable soul. The world can no longer study you because you've become the unplayable soul. You've erased your old patterns, dismantled your emotional triggers, and rewritten your entire code. Once you were predictable, easy to read, easy to manipulate with guilt. Now you've become sovereign. You don't react from emotion. You decide from discernment. Every smile, every silence, every goodbye is intentional and weighed. You've become what the manipulators fear most. Someone they cannot decode, someone they cannot provoke, and someone they absolutely cannot use. They call you aloof, mysterious, or hard to reach. But you know the truth. You've simply taken back control of your responses. Their drama can no longer pull you down, and their confusion no longer demands your clarity. Their validation has utterly lost its flavor to your taste. They are hesitant before they speak to you, because your energy speaks a truth louder than their words. They can feel the invisible scan, the soul-level analysis happening behind your calm gaze. You see what is not being said. You detect intent beneath the tone. You sense the energy before the action. You are fluent in the unspoken language of the soul, and that makes you utterly unplayable. When you were easy to read, you were easy to break. But the moment you became unreadable, you became untouchable. You stopped broadcasting your every emotion like an open signal, and started moving in a quiet authority, letting the results of your choices speak the language words never could. That deep, quiet confidence is what unsettles an entire room when you enter it. Your restraint has become your weapon. You've learned that your silence can expose more truth than any confrontation. You have seen how withholding your access, your attention, and your emotional reaction leaves the manipulators gasping for a control that they no longer possess. You simply stop participating in their illusion, and that's when their carefully constructed world crumbles around them. The power of integration. You've merged your light and your darkness perfectly. The inner saint no longer tries to obliterate the shadow, and the shadow no longer resents the light. They have ceased their internal war and started a profound collaboration. The light provides vision. The shadow provides protection. The saint heals, the shadow guards. Together they create something rare and sacred: wholeness. People still stuck in the rigid game of spiritual polarity can't grasp this profound peace. They are still choosing sides, kind or cruel, love or truth. But you have discovered that true divine power doesn't reside in the extremes. It resides precisely in the conscious balance between them. You are the sun that both warms and fiercely burns, depending on what stands in its path. You don't ask for permission to exist in your totality anymore. The integration was costly. It demanded you face the parts of yourself you once feared. The buried rage, the ignored grief, the power you constantly denied. You had to walk through your own personal underworld until your shadow stopped looking like an enemy and started sounding like the deepest truth. This is the secret. Heaven was never trying to make you pure by subtraction. It was trying to make you divine by completion. Now you no longer react to life. You compose it. When life requires compassion, you offer it. When it demands boundaries made of steel, you raise them without a single flicker of hesitation. You understand that love without power is slavery, and power without love is tyranny. You walk the line between the two, an embodiment of conscious balance. Neither just a saint nor a sinner, but something higher. Your unforgettable echo, those who are still fractured and divided within themselves simply cannot stand in your presence for long. Your wholeness exposes their fragmentation. Your calm reveals their inner chaos. Your fierce self-acceptance reminds them of how much of their own authentic self they have rejected. You are not attacking them. Your existence simply shows them what they could become if they stopped running from their own reflection. This is why your energy doesn't end when you leave the room. It echoes. It lingers in the minds of those you encounter, calling something ancient inside them to awaken and rise. You are not just a person. You are a spiritual experience, a frequency that reveals, ignites, and liberates. They keep trying to label you, to contain you, but how can they label lightning? How can they define a star that burns in two colors at once? You were not sent here to fit their language. You were sent here to rewrite it. You are the living proof that divinity is not a single color, but the entire spectrum. You are what happens when the light stops hiding from its shadow, and they decide to walk together as an unstoppable force. That is why you will always be utterly unforgettable. The final declaration, you remind people of what real power feels like, silent, stable, and absolutely unstoppable. You remind them that peace is not weakness, that love is not blindness, and that necessary darkness is not evil when it serves the light. You walk through life as living equilibrium, carrying both heaven's tenderness and the wisdom of hell's authority. And that duality, that terrifying, beautiful, holy duality is what makes you divine. So let them talk. Let them wonder. Let them fear what they can't predict. You owe no one clarity. Your mystery is your ultimate protection. Because what they call confusion, the universe calls completion. You are the riddle only the worthy can truly read, the code only the awakened can recognize. You are not lost between worlds. You are the bridge that connects them. You were never meant to be like them. You were meant to remind them. You are here to disturb comfort, to end illusions, and to raise the vibration of everything your presence touches. You are not here to blend in. You are here to bend reality. Comment this below not as a phrase but as a declaration. They created the chaos. I just adapted. Let the universe know you have accepted your evolution. Not half of yourself, but all of it. Your duality isn't confusion. It is completion. And those who were never meant to understand you will never, ever stop feeling you.